Okay, we're going to work with you now. And we're going to focus on what is your elevator pitch? What is your focus? You can tell people what you do. So we're going to start with the following. Okay, I am a family care coach. I'm a family care coach. Now, as a family care coach, what are your thoughts of what this entails? Just give me some words, some information.
Well, my direction is mostly with older people.
Older people,
Who
got it.
have issues with themselves and their family members.
Issues, family, good, excellent. What else? Just keep going, Kate, just give me words.
They're stagnated, often in poor health. They face loneliness.
Good.
Financial problems.
Got it.
They often have, family will be pushing them to move out of their home. And
So we're talking family interaction, which may not always be positive.
Families often live long distances apart.
Or non-family support. Very good.
Or not face-to-face support anybody.
Got it. Do we have pain here? Is there pain going on?
Pain.
Anguish? Does that occur in this world? People are in misery.
They're
or uncomfortable.
fearful of the
Fear. Very cool.
present and the future.
Past and present.
They have health issues. We say that already.
I got it right here. Perfect. Keep going.
Often they need a caretaker. And
Caretaker. Very
the
good.
cost of the caretaker, it can be a very big problem.
Caretaker's important. Exactly right. What about getting involved in the medical world? Working with doctors, working with the medical system.
Older people have a tendency today to spend a lot of time with the doctors.
Doctors, okay. How about nursing homes?
Nursing homes, retirement homes.
Got it.
So often they're handicapped, so they're very limited in moving about. And one of the things that I find with older people is the unwillingness to learn the new things that are coming about. Unwillingness to learn, and do they stop reading?
Do you think you call the word that they stagnate?
Say that again?
Do they stagnate?
Oh yes, very much so.
Stagnation. Gotcha. Very good. You're going. See, Kay, this is what's important about this exercise. The more you unleash the information, look how it's getting involved. Do you see how much of a need you're going to be as a coach for all these different areas? You start with one or two words, but you let your mind develop more information. And that's what you're doing with this exercise. It's really getting stronger. So we're building your objective. We're building your purpose. It's called area purpose. And that's what we're building right now. And giving you an identified coaching process. So you're building it right now. So let's just keep going because there's more areas we want to focus on.
Transportation problems. Can't drive a car anymore.
So people have to start to rely on others.
Yes,
Loss of independence.
yes, that's a good way to put it.
How about loss of hope? They start to give up.
Yeah,
Wow, we're moving forward. Keep going. This is great.
let's see.
Let's talk about the family side now because we're going to be working with caregivers. So we have the individual, but what's going to be the problem with the caregivers? What are they going to be dealing with?
Very often parents want to still tell their children how to live, how to behave, and they're grown with their own families, or the children find that it's hard to raise parents.
So it's control. Now, it's one of the things I found as being a caregiver was that I started my life that I thought I was so independent, I started to lose my independence because I had to rely on schedules now. One of my worst situations is I had to constantly go into emergency rooms. And I became very reactionary instead of living the life where I could respond. Do you think that's something that other caregivers would be in the same boat?
Absolutely. I gave up all my, we didn't entertain or socialize anymore.
So you're giving up your normal way of living.
Yes.
Normal changes are gone. There you go. So that's
You
also,
concentrate on the handicapped person.
there you go, because you're focusing on that
Has
individual.
needs.
So as a caregiver, it could be your child, it could be a sibling.
Yes.
It could be- all of a sudden, your life has, where it may have been out like this, is now becoming smaller. And
Yes.
it's very intense. And guess what? The caregiver's health also gets bad. Because the stress and all affects the caregiver. And so you've got not only the person who's ill, but now you've got the caregiver who's got health issues because of what's developing. So now you're multiplying the situation.
I felt that if my husband lived another 2 weeks, I was going to end up in the hospital.
See? And I ended up in the hospital because of the stress.
Yes.
So I understand how that works. So as a caregiver, you see, as we as coaches who are going to be, and by the way, we are family care coaches. We need to work with not only the client, but we also, which is to say the patient, but also the family who cares for them. So we're going to be handling two sides of the coin here, which I think is a wonderful opportunity for individuals who are caring with elderly parents or siblings or whatever their situation is, which is very well needed. So I'm glad we've stepped up. We've created quite a few items. And now I'd like to open up the information to the rest of the room. We have other of our coaches here, and thank you for being patient and letting Kay work through the process. But if you'd like to bring out other items that would help Kay so we get ready to build her elevator pitch, I would like that.
Guilt?
Guilt, excellent, thank you.
Burden?
Burden? Thanks Chris. Anybody else?
There's a part of shame in there too.
Shame?
You know, and regret.
But you know why you bring up shame, I'm glad you brought that up again, is that, Basement George, is this. When people are not in the norm of society, they become alienated by others.
Isolation.
Others will alienate them and isolate them.
Yeah.
And they're not accepted in society as much. It's almost
No.
like they have a disease.
Right.
Yes.
And they don't want to deal with those people while they're going through the situation. They feel for them, but
Yes.
don't get too close. You know how it is?
Yeah.
So you get into isolation. And there is a shame associated to illnesses
Yeah.
and caring for others.
Yes.
Because unfortunately, and this is where we are going to be as coaches, everyone, we're going to educate. Because most people are going to become caregivers, or they're going to become the patient. And society is set up today that it doesn't really help the situation. We still have a long way to go. And that's why our family care coaching program that we're associating and creating is going to be there for people. We're going to be creating workshops. We're going to create support groups, help groups. We're going to create a hotline. Okay, I don't know if you know that. I'm going to create an 800 hotline so people can call in. And we'll set up a training program in places around the country where they can connect to. So we're going to take this to a higher level. Imagine being able to have a hotline. You're a caregiver, you're so frustrated, they can now make a phone call and we can direct them to maybe where their city is and where they can go. We'll connect and build. Other coaches, by the way, will become part of our family care because this is their essence or their passion. So do you see the big picture and how we're developing it? How it's going to get huge and bigger and bigger. So you're going to be a very, very, very busy person, Kay, in a lot of ways. We've got a lot to go. So be ready for that, that's for
Okay.
sure. Okay? Well, let's go ahead. Does anybody else like to add anything?
Just regret that they weren't a good parent, that they weren't good parents to their children.
I don't know how many people feel that way.
Mhm.
I think a lot of mothers feel that it's the fault of the child.
What about death? I mean,
Death is an issue. You got to deal with death.
Bereavement.
And by the way, you got
Yes.
to deal with, let's go further, legal.
Legal,
You've got
yeah.
legal issues, medical issues.
Yeah.
You have to deal with emergency rooms.
Or a lot of them just waiting to die.
Yes.
Well, they become stagnated and they give
Yeah.
up. It's
Or what
giving up.
about within the death, the spouse doesn't know how to take care of any of the finances or
Exactly.
anything, because they've never done it before.
That's it. So you've
Yes.
got those issues going up too at
Yeah.
the same
I
time.
have a neighbor who told me she wishes she could just go to sleep.
Right. Well, they're giving up because there's not, what else is there? But you bring up a wonderful thing. Do you imagine if you could create like a reading club? Or a place where you can get books,
Yeah.
maybe like what we do in our programs where we have that Friday night morning program when you do review of of the books. And we have selected books for individuals, and then we can set up some kind of maybe teleconference where they could call in and talk about what they're reading. At least they have a connection to people.
Hope.
And they find out people care or hope.
Yes.
Hope is a good point. That'd be very, very helpful. Well, everyone, we've got some great information here. Let's go ahead and pull this off. Maria is going to help us.
Sure.
And paste this up, and let's start developing your elevator pitch.
Okay.
This is very exciting. You're going to be very busy. You got a lot of work to do.
I'll have to make a clone of myself.
Yeah! I keep saying that all the time.
Okay, well,
Thanks, Maria.
No problem.
Okay, so Kay and everybody, we're going to work to start to develop a very effective elevator pitch so that people understand what Kay is doing. And we want to do this in less than a minute. So we're going to create something that really hits home and starts asking you questions. So, obviously, I am a family care coach who works with, let's talk about it, we have them up here.
work with, older people.
Senior citizens, we're gonna use elderly senior citizens, okay?
All right.
Elderly, there's a reason, we're gonna do elderly senior citizens.
Okay,
And remember, Kay, we may not use the word senior citizens, but people in society use it.
yes, I
So we
do.
have to use the word that they relate to.
Yeah.
Use our info. So we're gonna say elderly. And their family
Members,
caregiver members.
okay,
You must put that in there.
yes,
To help decrease the burden and pain of transitions in their lives. There's a reason we're going to say that. To help
Fabulous.
release the burdens and pain that have now developed in their lives. Does that make sense?
I don't think we should use the word now because it sounds like it just happened and we're
Okay,
having 4
let's
years.
develop it. Give me a word.
Uh,
Own it, this is yours.
To help release the burden of pain that has developed in their lives. Just eliminate the word now. I don't see the word now.
I didn't even take it, that has developed. So we'll change it to has.
Yeah, all right.
How about relieve?
How about recently, or just say has developed. Just say has developed.
You
Simple.
don't need to put a time on
You
it.
like release or relieve?
That has developed.
No, no, say the beginning, the family.
I have helped
To
release. Release. Relieve, let's use the word relieve.
Relieve, I think,
Yes,
is more appropriate.
yes.
I like it too, thank you.
No
That's
problem.
exactly what we do in
We're
this
here to
workshop.
help each other.
We're here to work and help each other. So let's read this again and develop. As you always have to remember, you want to keep reading again, and then you develop the next section. So, we're saying, I am a family care coach who works, and works, you gotta be in the present, just today you're doing it,
Yes,
with elderly senior citizens, and people will get that, and their families, caregivers, family members, to help relieve the burden and pain that has developed in their lives. Okay, so now we've established your idea. Now, you may make adjustments because, guess what? This doesn't always happen as an elderly senior citizen. You could have someone who's like my age, could all of a sudden have a stroke.
yes.
I don't
Even
know,
younger.
You're not gonna
God forbid.
knock on wood on that one, but
Knock
you
on
know what I'm
wood.
saying?
Yes,
Yeah, I'm knocking on wood, guys. Mainly because now your life changes, the family changes, everything changes. You gotta now work with doctors and hospitals, and I could be having a stroke situation and live for 15, 20 years, as we know. So there's a lot of stress now, the whole mechanism of the family changes over one person, and all that goes on.
Yes.
So we have to look and say, is it smart that we should use the word elderly? Maybe we need to change that. So what do you think? Should we not be this limited by saying this?
You could have a child born that needs
Mhm.
family caregiving
Correct.
their whole life.
So should we look at
Somebody
changing
could be in
that?
a car
Yeah.
accident and be paralyzed.
Yeah, you understand that?
Yeah,
So
my
what do you
sister-
think would be more of a appropriate statement to say elderly? Do we want to say somebody who has
Disabled?
physical...
Disabilities?
Physical, maybe, again, it's not that they're paralyzed or
Lies.
disabled, but it's a physical limitation or it's a
Physical
physical...
it could
limitation.
also be mental.
Mental?
Well, that's it.
Mental
That's it.
and physical.
But again, you don't want to scare people. So you got to remember who your audience is. And you're working with family care. But the actual percentage is that you're working with people, in many instances, you are working with senior citizens.
Yes.
Let's just get rid of the word elderly, I think that has to go. We'll get rid of the word elderly, we'll say senior citizens and their family members, and I recommend you may want to use as caregivers.
Of all ages?
We could, what we have to think of with K, we are working a lot with senior citizens though with K.
Yeah.
So in a way, I want to stay there.
Right.
And only because the idea is that the grown-up children are now working with their elderly parents. And you're working on that. So we can make it a little more broader, or we could say, I'm gonna say physically challenged, how's that?
Yes,
Challenged individuals, let's just use that. And it doesn't mean that they're physically challenged because they have, they're paralyzed or anything, but there's